We did respond, and we challenged actually the veracity of the story, and we challenged actually the veracity of the text messages, and specifically said that those messages were cherry-picked and used out of context. Was there a follow-up phone call? Was there, please tell us more? What do you mean by...
Are you going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megan. Wait till you see this lawsuit. It's all going to be based on evidence.
Now, Baldoni's lawsuit is 179 pages. So in case you don't have time to read through it all, I want to read you a direct quote from the complaint that essentially summarizes everything that Baldoni is alleging. He says, Lively wields immense power as one of the world's best-known celebrities. She set out to destroy plaintiffs' livelihoods and businesses if they did.
The courtroom battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni just took a shocking turn. With Blake's accusations falling apart, her attempt to bring fake evidence has backfired spectacularly. But it gets worse.
You know, Blake Lively has a pretty good track record of treating people she feels who are beneath her like crap.
The worst thing that I've seen is she made a joke during kind of like a round table with the Gossip Girl cast about, you know, not all of us or none of us were born in a cage. Well, maybe some of us.
Blake Lively initially filed a lawsuit against Justin Baldoni alleging harassment and misconduct. She painted herself as the victim, claiming that Justin and his associates orchestrated a smear campaign against her. But within 48 hours, Justin's legal team hit back hard, calling her accusations completely false and branding her a liar. This legal back and forth has now spiraled out of control, dragging in more names, more accusations, and a massive $7 million lawsuit against Blake herself.
This text from Blake Lively is insane. If you knew me in person longer, you'd have a sense of how flirty and yummy the ball busting would play. It's my love language, spicy and playfully bold, never with teeth. What?
It's a crazy text.
What are you insinuating? Like, is that a joke? Yeah. I was blown away reading it. I really was blown away, and honestly, weirded out. We're dealing with a weird on our hands because this is crazy.
Blake's legal strategy relied heavily on text messages that she claimed proved her case. But Justin's team wasted no time exposing the truth. They argue that she tampered with those messages, twisting their context to fit her narrative. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Are you saying that they got changed copies of the communications, or that they changed the communications to remove emojis? Are you blaming the New York...
Before this case even went to court, Justin Baldoni and his team had already launched legal action against the New York Times. They accused the publication of conspiring with Blake Lively to manipulate public perception, selectively using evidence while omitting key details that would expose her claims as false.
Blake Lively's publicists and engaging in this campaign where they actually were part of facilitating the complaint getting filed with the CRD, which is the Civil Rights Division, and knew the complaint was getting filed, encouraged them to file the complaint, had a copy of the complaint before it was filed, and once it was filed...
According to Justin, he and his team had already informed the New York Times that Blake's accusations were misleading, yet the article still went live, reportedly 2 hours earlier than scheduled, in what Justin's legal team believes was a calculated move to control the public narrative. They argue that the timing was no accident. It was all part of a strategy to cement Blake's version of events before any rebuttal could be made. But that's not all.
They went with a story.
Breaking news. They didn't have any more time available to give you. They gave you the most time they could. You chose not to respond. Is that a fair charge?
Not at all.
Blake knew that going to court would expose her claims to legal scrutiny, so she attempted a different approach. Instead of directly suing, she filed a right to sue letter with the California Civil Rights Department. This move allowed her to keep certain details under wraps while giving the impression that she was taking legal action.
We did respond, and we challenged actually the veracity of the story, and we challenged actually the veracity of the text messages, and specifically said that those messages were cherry-picked and used out of context. Was there a follow-up phone call? Was there, please tell us more? What do you mean by...
But Justin's legal team saw through this tactic. They argue that her real goal was never a lawsuit. It was about building credibility in the media and positioning herself as the victim without facing the risk of being cross-examined in court. The moment Justin countered with hard evidence, her carefully constructed narrative started falling apart.
There's no investigative journalism done whatsoever. It was a complete reckless disregard for the truth. And why was that, Chris? You know why that was. Because Blake
Lively's most significant piece of evidence was a series of text messages she claimed proved Justin and his team were trying to damage her reputation. However, Justin's legal team quickly dismantled this argument, providing their own unaltered records that exposed major inconsistencies.
Now you see text messages in this lawsuit from Blake Lively comparing herself to the heroine of Game of Thrones, the fiercest female character we've seen in years.
One key example was a message in which a team member responded to an article titled, "Could Blake Lively be canceled?" with, "Wow, you outdid yourself with this." Blake presented this message as a serious statement, but Justin's team revealed that she had removed emojis and sarcastic tones from the original conversation to make it appear as though the comment was grave.
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie. But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to...
That's right. She manipulated digital evidence to make it look like she was being targeted when in reality the messages were taken completely out of context. But listen to this.
Endure in recent history. Everything he says is self-flagellating over the fact that he's a man. But he's, to me, is sort of the embodiment of what happens when you totally emasculate a man. And then she continued, she took that stiletto and stuck it in his heart when he was down there self-flagellating, being so sorry for anything having to do with his testosterone.
Justin's legal team also uncovered internal discussions that proved they were worried about Blake's PR team spreading misleading narratives. In one revealing conversation, Justin's team questioned how they could counter Blake's accusations, noting that her claims were making them look bad. But instead of scheming against her, their internal discussions showed frustration with the false stories being circulated.
Are you going to sue Blake Lively too?
Into oblivion, Megan. Wait till you see this lawsuit. It's all going to be based on evidence. It's not going to be just a lawsuit. It's going to be the kind of...
At one point, Justin forwarded a TikTok by Perez Hilton to his PR representative, Melissa, where Perez claimed that Justin's team was behind smear pieces about Blake. Justin was alarmed and immediately asked, "This isn't us, right?" Melissa reassured him that they had nothing to do with it and dismissed Perez as an unreliable source.
Earlier this week in the pretrial hearing, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' lawyer requested that the judge place a gag order on Baldoni's attorney. The judge denied that, but reminded all parties to engage by the rules of professional conduct in New York, meaning you cannot say anything in the media that could potentially taint a jury. But Baldoni's attorney and Lively and Reynolds' attorney have free rein to talk to the press as much as possible. So yesterday, Baldoni's lawyer gave an interview where he was directly asked, "Are you going to depose?"
In another text exchange, a journalist from Daily Mail even confirmed that Justin's PR team never engaged in smear tactics against Blake. He directly told Blake's own publicist, Leslie Sloan, that Melissa never planted stories against Blake. But rather than accept the truth, Leslie kept pushing the narrative that Justin's team was responsible for tarnishing Blake's image.
Blake Lively is responding to Justin Baldoni's $400 million lawsuit. In a statement, she says, "This is an age-old story. A woman speaks up with concrete evidence of sexual harassment and retaliation, and the abuser attempts to turn the tables on the victim. This is what experts called DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim offender." Lively says Justin and his production company are pulling out all the stops to try and overwhelm the public's ability to understand that what they are doing is retaliation against sexual...
And it gets even crazier. Blake also accused Justin's team of celebrating after supposedly quashing HR complaints on set. Many people initially believed these complaints were related to serious allegations, but Justin's team quickly refuted this, providing an email from TMZ that clarified the truth.
There is never a dull moment in this ongoing war between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively.
Yeah, it ends with us, did not end with them.
No, not
was the
at
name of
all.
the movie, but no.
And in fact, the legal battle over the weekend came down to this. So you had Blake, her attorney, sending not one but two letters, one over the weekend and one this morning to the judge, saying that Justin Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, is trying to taint the jury.
According to TMZ, the HR complaints were about workplace disagreements, not serious misconduct. In fact, sources told TMZ that Justin was well-liked on set and described him as approachable and professional. The real issue, insiders claimed, was Blake's arrogance and difficult attitude, which reportedly caused tensions among cast and crew.
She alleges that there was a hostile work environment, that he had sexually harassed her, and that when she had asked him to stop and brought these complaints to the public, meaning on set, he had retaliated by organizing a PR war against her to destroy her image during the premiere.
Justin's PR rep, Melissa, even reached out to TMZ to address concerns that Blake's team was accusing them of spreading false stories. The response she received was chilling. Wait till you hear everything. You think you know the full story, but you don't. And that's when things took an even stranger turn.
Remember I said that the tactic of Justin Baldoni's lawyers to include Taylor Swift in the lawsuit was nothing short of Machiavellian, because I knew that Taylor's name, her team would be like, we got a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, quote unquote, for me, and we don't want to be part of this at all. And now she is running for cover and leaving Blake for dead because they don't want any part of this. And that was a tactic. And I keep saying this is the craziest, by far, legal situation to ever hit the entertainment industry. The movie business has never experienced a lawsuit like this that has so many tentacles. It is crazy, and it is the fuck around and find out endless lawsuit.
Blake's lawsuit included a peculiar claim that Justin's co-producer Jamie Heath once tricked her into watching what she thought was inappropriate content. According to Blake, Jamie showed her an explicit video, making her uncomfortable.
I mean, I haven't followed her career closely at all. I know she's married to the Deadpool guy. And, you know, but I remember seeing those stories and seeing a lot of them over time that were extremely negative about Blake Lively, and just thinking I don't remember ever hearing anything like that about her before. This seems weird.
But Jamie had a completely different explanation. He stated that the video in question was actually a recording of his wife giving birth, a deeply personal and non-inappropriate moment. To support his claim, Justin's team released a still from the video showing that Blake's allegations were wildly exaggerated.
And the beautiful thing is that, I mean, beautiful may not be the word, speaking from the perspective of a plaintiff's lawyer who would represent a client like Blake Lively in a case like this, of course, all of these people that are involved are all sending each other text messages and emails about it.
Blake also alleged that Justin and Jamie frequently entered her trailer without permission, sometimes while she was changing or breastfeeding. The New York Times even backed this claim, suggesting that this was part of a pattern of misconduct. However, Justin's legal team countered with text messages that told a very different story. In one exchange, Blake messaged Justin saying, "I'm just pumping in my trailer if you want to work on our lines." Justin responded, "Copy, just grabbing a bite with the crew and I'll be right there." If Blake was willingly inviting Justin to her trailer, how could she now claim he was intruding? This contradiction shattered another major part of her case.
This might be what gets me canceled. Is it possible that Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni should just be together? I mean, I remember when the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing was happening, halfway through it was kind of like, wait a minute, should you guys just get back together?
The fallout from this case is far from over, and as more details come to light, it's only getting worse for Blake. Will she be able to recover from this, or has she destroyed her own credibility for good? Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out the next video for the latest updates.